Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again with yet another video today as the full core set for the year of the Pegasus has been revealed for all classes. What's leaving, what's going? Yes, the Shadow Step is staying. You can laugh at me. Shadow Step is staying for Rogue, but there are a lot of changes. We have brand new cards, returning favorites, buffs, all that cool stuff. I'm guessing we're gonna get expansion announcement tomorrow. So if you want to stay tuned for all that, hit that sub button down below. Give the video a like, and we're also gonna have some more stuff later today to cover. It's crazy. We're starting the new year hype, and let's go through class by class. Let's take a look at what's leaving the core set, what's staying it for the year of the Pegasus. So starting off with Death Knight, what will be leaving? First, we have Lord Marrowgar, the triple unholy. They're kind of basically scaling back the impact of triple rune cards. They want the system to be more flexible. So by doing that, we get rid of Marrowgar. I don't know. It's a pretty busted card. It's leaving to Wild, Yimyar, Deathbringer, Bone Digger Dice, Graveyard Shift. I mean, they already made a better one, right, for 2 mana. So that leaves, as well as some blood cards and Possessifier as well. Corrupted Ashbringer will be leaving. Patchwork, a card that pretty good disruption, will be leaving. Obliterate, Heartstrike, Rhinefang Sword. This card saw very little play. Overseer Frigidara will no longer be in the core either for those Frost decks. Repulsive Gargantuan, Rhyme Sculpture, Defrost, and Rude Forging will all be leaving. Again, this core set rotation will not occur until the expansion goes live, or when rotation goes live later on. So you're not going to lose these cards right away, but they will, they will be leaving eventually. What will be added or new to core? Basically, these are cards that were March of the Lich King or Path of Arthas that were added. So the Scourge will be staying, Necrotic Mortician, Vampiric Blood, so you can still play the triple rune blood decks, but you'll note Soul Stealer will stay, but is only 2 runes. It's not triple blood. Corpse Explosion stays, Blood Tap, Hematurge, Soulbreaker. So a lot of the blood cards will be remaining, which I was hoping for. I'm pretty happy about that. Frostworm's Fury, Horde of the Winter will be staying. You'll note Frostworm's Fury is still triple frost, but Marrow Manipulator is now 2 frosts. Might of Menethil will be staying, as well as Frostmourne gets a bit of a buff going from 6 mana, but loses an attack. We'll see if that makes any difference. Corpse Bride will remain, recently got buffed. Nerubian Swarmguard no longer has a rune requirement. Asphyxiate no longer has a rune requirement as well. And Acolyte of Death no longer has a rune requirement, but goes down to a 3/4, I guess, to make up for that, because it can be quite the draw engine. So that's Death Knight. I'm happy to see a lot of the blood cards stick around. But yeah, like Mograine will be rotating. That was part of March of Lich King. If it's not listed here, like Blood Boil, I guess, will be going to Wild. Blood DK will have stuff to work with, but not quite as much as before, depending, of course, what the next expansion will bring. Demon Hunter, they get 3 cards leaving. Flame Reaper, Rascale Naga, and Feast of Souls will no longer be in the core set. However, Expendable Performers, which used to be like an OTK style of card with the old Kurtrus hero card. Obviously, you can't do that in standard. Kurtrus isn't around, as well as the card that makes your hero power cost 0 isn't around. Wayward Sage does not rotate. This card was set to rotate, will stay. So the whole Sharpshooter Demon Hunter keeps one of its best cards. That makes me so happy. And Umberwing makes a return. This was from like Ashes of Outland back in the day, maybe the Initiate set, I'm not sure, but a 2 mana 1/2 weapon, Battlecry, summon 2 1/1 Fellwings. So yeah, if you're not familiar with Expendable Performers, by the way, it's a 7 mana spell. You summon 7 1/1 Illidars with Rush. If they all die, you get 7 more. It's a pretty effective card, but was typically to read a card outside of that OTK deck. Druid gets destroyed. Ramp Druid it's gonna look a lot different. Druid, it's crazy what they're doing. Wild Growth and Nourish will not be in the core set. They are leaving. You know, they talk about Shadow Step being core to a class. Ram's pretty core to Druid. It's gone. There's going to have to be some pretty crazy replacements, or else, yeah, you're not going to be ramping a lot other than like the Whelp, the 2-mana dragon, or the 6-mana gain 3 mana crystals card, right? I think those are the only ramp options until the next expansion. We'll see. But that is huge. I'm sure some people will love it. I think some Druid players will not be very happy. But yes, Wild Growth and Nourish are leaving. Soul of the Forest will be leaving. Kiri, as well as the attached Lunar and Solar Eclipse, no longer in Standard, and Pounce will be rotating. Being added to the core set, Greybow will be added. I think it stays the same way. 5 mana, 4/6. It's got Death Rattle. You give it another minion, basically resummon Greybow. It can be incredibly sticky, and with like, well, the location's rotating. The Death Rattle location, that can be really good, but Death Rattle proccers and all of that, pretty solid. Park Panther will be added to the whole core set. Lesser Jasper Spellstone will be there, and basically the old Spellstones, you deal 2 damage to a minion. If you gain 3 armor, it'll upgrade to 4. If you gain 3 armor again, it'll upgrade to 6. Thick Hide Kodo will be around. 4 mana, 3/5 taunt. Death Rattle, gain 5 armor. Swipe, I guess, is finally going back to 3 mana. It went to 3 for a little bit, then went back to 4, and now it's at 3. Raven Idol is a spell that'll be in the core set. Pretty relevant card. Is usually just discover a spell, but you can also discover a minion, or if you have choose 1 effects combined, you can get both. And then Oaken Summons will be in the core set as well, and with the new dual class taunt, where you can choose 1 and destroy a mana crystal or discard cards, you can Oaken Summons that minion now. So that might be a strat where before you would ramp and then Oaken Summons. I don't know what you're doing now. So the biggest change by far is to Druid. I don't know what Druid's going to look like. That class has been around that forever. I'm all for it. Like I said, I would have loved to see a core set where everything changes, right? We'll talk about, Shadow Step saying, so that's not changing, but I would have loved to see a bigger change in that regard, but hey, that's pretty crazy. Hunter will not have King Crush for the first time ever in Standard. It is rotating. Select a Breeder, really good card, rotating as well. Cat Trick is leaving. Doggy Biscuit, these are all great cards. Wandering Monster, Candle Shot, and Mark Shot will no longer be in the core set. Their replacements, Barak Kodo Bane, which is a really solid card. It draws a 1, 2, and 3 cost spell. That saw a lot of play back in the day. Master's Call, which discovers a minion in your deck. If they're all beasts, you draw all 3 of them. So it's a really good card draw if you're playing a beast-heavy deck. Was very meta. It was one of the only good cards from Rosticon's Rumble. Rat Trap as well. Ice Trap, a pretty good disruption card. And they get Lesser Emerald Spellstone in there as well to basically synergize with that stuff where you play 1 secret, you get 3/3/3 wolves, and you summon I play another secret, you get 4, I believe. I believe you get 4. It's pretty insane. Saw a lot of play. Ball of Spiders. This card used to be 6 mana. They buffed it for Caverns of Time. This will be an auto include in most Hunter decks. This is such a good card. 3 mana, you summon 3/1/1 web spinners, and each of them have Death Rattle, get a random beast. This is a great addition for those Hunter decks, as well as Kill Command with those beasts. Getting that extra damage comes back to Standard. So Mage, for the first time ever, will not have Pyroblast. Egwin will rotate. This was a card made specifically for the core set, I believe, or it was like made for free. It was one of those ones. It leaves. Fire Sail leaves as well, and Snap Breeze. What comes in as a replacement? Caligos, which started at 10, went to 9, is now 8. Same thing as it used to be. Your first spell each turn costs 0, so don't coin into this and expect your spell to cost 0. Battlecry, discover spell. Flame Strike comes back. Arena will be back to played around Flame Strike. 7 mana, deal 5 damage to all enemy minions. Primordial Glyph, really good card. Arcane Spell, 2 mana, you discover spell, reduces cost by 2. So now you can like discover this and chain a bunch of stuff, right, with the Festival Infinite card. And Frostbolt comes back, 2 mana, deal 3 damage to a character and freeze it. So some OG cards coming back in Frostbolt, Flame Strike, and those are all pretty good additions. Paladin loses Lothraxian for those dude Paladin decks. Amber Watcher, True Silver Champion, and Blessing of Kings. These 2 cards have been in Standard since the beginning, so that is a big change, although they haven't seen much much meta play in recent times, but Paladin gets Lady Liadrin, which outside of Librams never saw a lot of play. It could be a bit of a value card, but without like a lot of spells to get back and they're like mana cheated, it typically wasn't that great. Hammer the Naru will be really good in Arena. I don't know about ladder. 6 mana 3/3 weapon. You summon a 6/6 Holy Elemental with Taunt. Spike Ridge Steed used to be an incredibly good card. 6 mana, give a minion +2/+6 and Taunt. When it dies, you summon a 2/6 Stegodon. So that card used to be really good in Agora for quite some time. Hasn't been in forever and wild, but maybe it makes an impact in Standard. And Silver Moon Portal will also come in. 3 mana, give a minion +2/+2 and summon a random 2-cost minion. Priest does lose Shadow Priest. Dark Bishop, Benedictus, all those Shadow Priest cards are leaving, and I guess they're not replacing them with anything. So yeah, Benedictus, I'm sure a lot of people will not be thrilled that that's leaving. Draconic Operative is leaving. Holy Champion, Shadowed Spirit to go with the whole undead shadow stuff. Shadow or Death for the first time ever will not be in Standard. And Shard of the Naru, an incredibly good card, will be leaving the core set. So Priest gets hit pretty hard here, losing some significant stuff. My God, why? Why would you ever do this? They're putting in Obsidian Statue, which is gross. Lazul's fine. Madame Lazul's kind of cool. Ship's Chirurgeon is like only really good at WoW with like Patches the Pirate and stuff, but that was a Caverns of Time card that'll be added, where after you summon a minion, you give it +1 in health. But they're bringing Lesser Diamond Spellstone to mass res stuff. No, we don't. Why do we want Big Priest back? Please, no. You resurrect 2 different friendly minions, so it's different. You can't bring the same minion back twice. If you cast 4 spells, you get 3. You upgrade it, and if you cast 4 more, you upgrade it again, it'll summon 4. So there's that. Void Shard, 4 mana shadow spell, Life Steal, deal 4 damage, and Shadowed Pain takes Death spot, where you get to destroy a minion with 3 or less attack. Death typically is a lot better than that, but we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, Priest, I feel like kind of lost more than they gained in that exchange. Rogue, so as I mentioned, Shadow Step not leaving, but the secret package is Shadow Jeweler Hanar, Ambush, Cheat Death, Plagiarizer, and they're losing one of their pirates in Buccaneer. One of the coolest rogue cards ever, just a really rad card, Flick. Battlecry, destroy a minion and all copies of it wherever they are. So if you could kill the Astalor, if that was still around, all the 2 mana 2/2 Astalors, you kill a Fedolare Strider, they all die, right? Like it's a pretty cool effect. It might see some play, and it's for free, so that's really cool. Feldore Strider is a 4 mana 4/4 Battlecry. You shuffle 3 ambushes into your deck. When drawn, you summon a 4/4 spider. So you can play like that new tutor 3 mana 3/3 and draw out your spiders or whatever. That's kind of cool. Burgle Rogue gets a huge boost with some Spectral Cutlass. 4 mana 2/2 weapon. Lifesteal, whenever you play a card from another class, gain +1 durability. Don't sleep on this. There's so many Burgle cards right now in Standard and weapon upgrades. This might actually be pretty nuts. But of course, Viper is a card. Raiding Party to draw 2 pirates from your deck combo and a weapon. This got nerfed to 4 mana at one point. And yeah, you can get your Spectral Cutlass or whatever weapon you want. And Sap comes back, which is awful because it's so good to create it by. It's so hard to play around. I've not missed that card. Not super happy to see it come back, but Rogue got some cool stuff. I'll definitely play me some Flick. Shaman, for the first time ever, will not have Doomhammer or Bloodlust. They're losing Zap, Grand Item Izor, and as hinted at or showed in the original blog we took a look at earlier, Strength Totem leaving 4. That spell damage totem coming in. We're getting Calamos, huge addition for those elemental decks that need more stuff. That's a pretty good option. You get Battlecry if you played it in Elemental last turn, cast an Elemental Evocation. I'll just show them here. There's like a Fireball, there's an AoE, there's filling your board. There's some really good stuff, and I think it used to be 8 mana back in the day. So very happy to see that. Muck Pools will stick around, so Shaman still has that location. Air Elemental now has that elusive tag, the new keyword, buff to a 3/1. Used to be a 2/1, and Spirit Claws used to be, I got nerfed to 2 mana at one point. Well, now with Spell Damage Totem, it's probably gonna be pretty good again, where, oh, I won the coin flip on my hero power. I have a 1 mana War Axe with 3 charges, right? Because you get +2 attack while you have spell damage. Next, we have Warlock, which loses all their big, cool demons. Mal'Ganis, Abyssal Enforcer, Lakari Fellhound, Void Caller, Imp Gang Boss, Fiendish Circle, all leaving. That's part of that Imp package that is also rotating, I believe, with Nathria. So big stuff being lost, but they're getting some pretty good stuff on top of that. Well, is Reform really good? Not really, but people love playing Reform. You can play it for free. It's a 7 mana, 7/8 taunt battlecry. Place your hand and deck with just random legendaries. I can't get Titans, I believe, but everything else you can get. So that's pretty crazy. Doomguard comes back, so a card that can actually discard cards for those discard decks. Dark Alley Pack comes back and gets buffed now. You summon a fiend with taunt in stats equal to your hand size. It used to just be a minion. So if you had 8 cards, you got a 4 mana 8/8. Now it is taunt. So even Warlock buff in Wild, and already was a good card. Like, that's a crazy buff for a card that was already pretty good. Lesser Amethyst Spellstone comes back. This was a pretty good card. It upgrades every time your hero takes damage from your cards, not your hero power. Has to be a card. So like the 2 mana draw card that damages you, its Battle Cry will upgrade it, and then its Death Rattle will upgrade it. So it goes, I believe, from like 3 to 6 to 8 damage. I can't remember. I'll try and have the graphic there, but it amplifies quite a bit. There's quite a lot of healing on that. And Bloodbound Imp can also buff that. 2 mana, 2/5 demon. Whenever this attacks, deal 2 damage to your hero. And Demonic Studies comes in. Discover demon. Your next one costs less. It didn't see a lot of play, but maybe you want to cheat out your 4 mana 7/7 even quicker. Warrior loses their taunt crap that nobody played. Armadillo, Sword Eater, Cruel Taskmaster, Dynamatic, Woodcutter's Ass. None of these cards saw any play throughout the standard year, and they get some really good stuff. They get to keep Sanguine Depths. War Axe is back at 2 mana. Cargo Guard is back, 3 mana, 2/4 pirate, and your turn gain 3 armor. But a really good card, Town Crier, 1 mana, 1/2. Battle Cry, draw a rush minion from your deck. Just such a good card. This will see play. And Deathwing Mad Aspect, 8 mana, 12/12 dragon, Battle Cry, attack all other minions. That includes your own, and it is also a really cool card with a great animation. Now to the neutrals, a big change up. They're cycling out a ton of legendaries. The new Ysera, the new Alexstrasza, Dr. Boom, Cairn, Ziliax, the Black Knight, all leaving. 6 legendaries leaving. Gadgeted Auctioneer already left. Azure Drake will be leaving. Eater of Secrets, Humongous Razorleaf, Rotten Apple Bomb, Chillwind Yeti, Grim Necromancer, Explosive Sheep, and Emerald Sky Talon, and Tour Guide. Tour Guide, probably the most relevant of these. Pretty decent. I mean, this is Secret Disruption, but nobody really plays it. And yeah, sadly, Ziliax and Black Knight didn't pop up a lot. So the biggest thing to leave, I would argue, is the Tour Guide, and there's a lot of stuff coming in. So what do we got? The OG Alexstrasza, set of heroes remaining health to 15. So that's a way of like comboing stuff, and you can use it to heal yourself. Ysera will also be coming back with a buff. At the end of your turn, get 2 random dream cards instead of the 1. Siamat will be returning, but instead of a 6/6, it's a 7/7, and you get to gain 2 either Rush, Taunt, Divine Shield, or Wind Fury. You just get to choose. Sylvanas comes back in its original state. 6 mana, 5/5, Death Rattle, take control of a random enemy minion. We have the brand new card here, Nomelia Safe Pilot, a 6 mana, 4/2 Rush minion. And it has Rush, also damages minion next to whomever this attacks, so like a cleave effect. They added elusive. Where's cleave, right? Death Rattle, you deal 2 damage to all enemies. So this is a really crazy neutral board clear, right? It does theoretically 12 and then another 2. And the AoE, the Death Rattle, also goes face. It's to all enemies. So pretty crazy card. Leroy Jenkins is back, and Shadow Step is in core. You know how I feel. So yeah, Leroy Shadow Step is back, and I'll probably complain about it if it's meta. I don't know if it will be. Hasn't seen play in Wild in a while, but yeah, Leroy's back. Just a card, True Heart, as I had pleaded on Twitter what I would give for it to be at 4 mana. I got it at 5 mana with a bit of a buff at 6/4 Battlecry. You replace your starting hero with a better one. This doesn't work on like Lone Ranger Reno. Doesn't work on that, but on your starting hero power. So you get, if you know the Baku stuff at all, you can tank up, rank up, and all that stuff. Love that card. Molten Giant, 20 mana minion, costs 1 less for each damage your hero has taken. So Warlocks typically love to abuse that. You get down to 10 health, it's free. So that can be a pretty relevant card. Same with Mountain Giant back in the day. Mind Control tech is back. Nobody wanted to see that, but they reworked it and made it maybe more toxic. I don't know. It's a 5-mana 3/3, but instead of it being a random, if your opponent has 4 or more minions, you just take one. You take it. That's pretty crazy. Neutral mind control for 5 mana if they have 4 or more minions. We have the brand new card here, Footman, 4 mana 2/5 taunt. Adjacent minions are immune while attacking, so you can play it and get some favorable trades. That's not bad. Stonehill Defender, we already knew that was in the core set, but now has 5 health. Get to discover taunts. Vicious Slither Spear. So Naga DH is sticking around. That deck needs to get nerfed. Anyways, it will be sticking around. Evasive Worm stays. They said it's being added because elusive is there. It's not really changing much. Warsong Grunt, 5 mana 3/6 rush minion. After this attacks and kills a minion, it may attack again. We've seen effects like that before. Typically not great. Night Elf Huntress, 5 mana 3/3 Battle Cry, deal 3 damage to 3 different enemies. You pick the targets. That's just like a super strong card. Like that seems really, really good. So yeah, we'll see how that one plays out. That just seems like a really nuts neutral card to me. Wandmaker is back in the core set. That was just a really good card. Get a 1-cost spell from your class. I think that'll see play for sure. We get South Sea Deckhand, Firefly, where you get that 1/2 elemental to your hand. I'm glad I wanted that for those elemental decks. And then, of course, I'll move my face here to show the great stats for the cost. Boulder Fist Ogre in the core set. There's also some changes of cards that are already in the core set. They're not like going in or out that have been reworked. Particular Deathlight cards. We're going to go through this document really quickly. But Deathlight, a lot of the cards just having less rune restrictions. So Noxious Cadaver no longer has a rune requirement. Plague Rain is double Unholy. Blood Tap, a single blood rune. Frost Strike, a single frost rune. Harbinger of Winter has a single frost rune, gets an attack buff on top of it. Hematurge now has 1 blood rune. Necrotic Mortician, only 1 Unholy. So Rainbow DK getting a lot of buffs here. Acolyte of Death, no rune and now 2 attack. We have mentioned that. Same with Asphyxiate and Nerubian Swarmguard. Army of the Dead, now 1 Unholy rune. Deathbringer Sourfang, 6 health. By the way, that Army of the Dead change, pretty big, right? That's a good corpse spender for Rainbow. Rainbow's looking really good. No Muncher has no rune. Marrow Manipulator is double frost. Soul Stealer double blood. And then there's some buffs to some prior cards already. Battle Fiend now has 3 health. Metamorphosis is 4 mana, deal 10, 2/5s. That's pretty crazy. They just redid the working out Alkid Summoning just so it's not recruit. More simple for players to understand. Flame Tongue Totem, 3 health. We already mentioned Caligus at 8 mana. We already mentioned the Dark Alley Pack. Twisting Nether now destroys locations. It's not a poof effect, but it will destroy locations as well. Big Game Hunter now is tradable. Sleepy Dragon has 6 attack. I think all the other changes we mentioned. So ton of changes. I don't know how I'm feeling about like Leroy being back with like, you know, Wind Fury and Garden's Grace around. There's some pretty scary cards. Druid gets a huge shakeup. Maybe next year Shadow Step, we could see it change with Road, but overall, a lot of crazy stuff. I think this is one of the more impactful core sets we've seen in like ever, arguably. It's gonna be pretty crazy. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, have a great day, and stay salty, my friends.